Hi everybody, welcome to Forget Me Not Friday, and today we're going to be making a little armchair. There's this little chair here I thought would be really good for perhaps in a doll's house or just for fun. Great way to use up scraps of yarn. And this guy is actually really easy to make, she says. So what we're going to need, we're going to need some chunky, bulky weight yarn, and I've chosen a lighter brown for the inside of the chair and a darker brown for the sides. So that's a chunky, bulky weight yarn. That's a yarn weight of 5. And I've also chosen for the little cushion, this tiny little cushion that goes on the armchair, is I've chosen some DK light worsted weight yarn, so some thinner yarn than the chunky yarn, and I've chosen a really bright, vibrant pink colour. We're also going to be needing some toy stuffing because the back and the chair part are stuffed, but the arms are not stuffed. But the great thing about this pattern is actually each individual piece, 1, 2, 3, 4, are identical. They're all exactly the same. But the difference is we stuff these two, but we don't stuff these two, and then they're just literally sewn on, and we do a little cushion as well. So it's really quite simple structure-wise. We're also going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. That's a G hook to go with our chunky yarn, so that's for the main chair part. But we're going to be using a smaller hook. I've chosen a 2.5mm hook for the little cushion. And also going to need some scissors and a yarn needle as well. So let's begin. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the 4 pieces of the chair. And these are all exactly the same. So I'm going to show you how to do it once, and then you just need to repeat it 3 times. You do it again in the lighter brown and then twice in the darker brown. So all we do is we chain 7 to begin. You're going to be using your 4mm crochet hook. So we're going to chain 7, so you do your little slip knot. And then we're just going to chain 7. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like so. And then we're going to work 2 single crochet in our second chain from our hook, so our second stitch from hook. And we don't count the loop on our hook as a stitch, so that's our first stitch there. So our second one is going to be this one down here. So we're going to put our hook into that one, but when you do put your hook in, you want to make sure you only catch that top piece of yarn there. So you want to make sure underneath you've got all the rest of it. So you just basically just want to catch that one piece of yarn. We're going to work 2 single crochet into there. So we do 1 and we go back in the same chain again just making sure to catch that one bit of yarn. Do 2 single crochet like so. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 chains. So again, when we go into the next stitch, we just want to catch that top piece of yarn. Bring that through and do a single crochet. And then do that for the next 3 chains as well. So it's 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And that should leave you 1 chain at the end. Always just pull your end tight just so you can see where your last chain is. And in that last chain we're going to do 2 single crochet again. So again we're just going to put our hook in and making sure to catch just that top piece of yarn. And we're going to work 2 single crochet into there. So another one in the same chain. So that by the end of that row you should have the 4 in the middle and 2 either end, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches you should have by the end of the first row. And then what we're going to do is we're going to crochet back into the chains on the opposite side. And I've done a video in more detail on this, but I'll go pretty slow anyway. But we need to work 2 single crochet in our first foundation chain, and what that means is we basically work 2 more single crochet in exactly the same last stitch. So going back into the same stitch again, the last one, we're going to do 2 more single crochet because this last chain counts as our first foundation chain in the opposite direction. So we do another 2 in there, and as you can see, your project, as you do that, you find that your project starts moving around clockwise like that. So when you set a pattern, oh, so I'm just knocking everything over. Whenever my patterns say turning your work clockwise, that's what it means. It just means to move your work around like that. And because we only caught the top piece of yarn when we worked this side, it means we can see the other side of the chains this side. So what we need to do now we've done our first 2 is in the next foundation chain we need to work 1 single crochet to match this side. So we do 1 single crochet in the next 4 foundation chains. And what you can do is you can just pull your work apart slightly and you can see the stitches appear. Because we're working with a chunky yarn, it's a bit easier as well. So the next one is going to be there, just next to your last stitch. So just put your hook in that general direction and push, and it should find it naturally. Bring that through and do your single crochet. And I'm going to work the tail end along as well, just to neaten that in. And then again, the next one, you can always pull it apart and see where that chain is. Going into the next chain, it just pops through, finds it by itself. Do another single crochet, and then the next one, just pop it and it goes through. Next single crochet, and then 1 more single crochet. So we've done 1 single crochet in the next 4 foundation chains, like so, and then that leaves us with the one on the end in there. We want to work 2 single crochet in there to mirror the other side. It's always easier to work into foundation chains with a chunky yarn because it's a bit easier to see. So there we go. So because we've done 8 stitches that side as well, in total now we did 8 along here, and then we've turned around and done 8 the other side. We've now got 16 stitches. So now we're going to be working round and around and around. We're just going to carry on. So in the next stitch, which is going to be this one at the top here, we're going to work 1 single crochet, and we're going to do that, so putting your hook through that stitch, catching both bits, 1 single crochet like so. And we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around, so that's all 16 stitches. We're going to do that for 5 rounds, because we're working in the round now, so that's rounds 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So I'll just show you the first round. So we've done 1 single crochet in the next stitch, then 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So we just put our hook through every stitch and just do 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And if you lose count, if you're not very good at keeping count, you can just put, before you start your first single crochet, you can just put a little bit of alternate coloured thread yarn in there just to mark, so you don't get lost where you are. So, but I tend to just live dangerously. So we just work 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So you keep a stitch count of 16. And as you can see, I've worked back along our first row, and then I'm just going round now in a circle, just following it round again along our second row until we get back to the beginning, get a bit more yarn. The reason I don't bother counting is because I know, because I worked my tail end along, I know my tail end ends up here, so that's how I remember this being the beginning, and I know that the last stitch is always in my last increase because I did the 2 single crochet, so I know my last stitch is always in that last increase there. So that's why I don't bother counting. So there we go, that's the first round. I just literally did 1 single crochet in the next stitch and 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So we still got a stitch count of 16. So that was round 3, if we count that as our first row, second row, now our third round. So we want to do that for another 4 rounds, so up to round 7. So again, we just go straight into the next stitch, like so, and then just work 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And just put my hook catching both bits of yarn, putting it through and doing a single crochet. Just pops through like so. So just repeat that until you've done 5 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then I'll come back and show you what you have to do next. There we go, just coming around to the other side, and I've almost done my second row. I'll just wait till I get to the end actually. And as you can see, it starts curving in. You want to work away from yourself, so you want to make sure it pops that way. And I know when I get to the end, because it will line up with my last increase, which is going to be, let's have a look, so 2 single crochet was there, then that was the last one, then that was the last one. So there we go, I've done another round. So that's round 2. As you can see, it's curving inwards. We want to make sure we're working away. So I'm going to do 3 more rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay. And the last one, 16. Typical, comes off the very last one. So there we go, and again you can see you've got your 2 single crochet there, and they all line up so you know which one you've got to end. Okay, so it should look a little something like that. You should have done 5 rounds of just 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then that creates some length. I've just tucked the tail end on the inside there. And what we're going to do now is we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together now. So we're going to go into the next stitch and grab our yarn, but also into the next stitch and grab our yarn. So we've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3, and that's single crochets 2 stitches together. Then we're just going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4. So we do 1 single crochet by itself, 1 single crochet by itself in the next stitch, 1 single crochet by itself in the next stitch, and 1 single crochet by itself. Like that. So you've done 1 single crochet in the next 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together. We're going to do that twice. So we're going to go into the next stitch, grab our yarn, then into the next stitch, grab your yarn. So you've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. I'm going to do that again. So into the next stitch, grab your yarn, into the next stitch, grab your yarn, yarn over, pull through all 3. So you've single crocheted 2 stitches together, and you've done that twice. Then we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 again. So that's 1 by itself, 2 by itself, 3 and 4. Then that leaves you with 2 stitches at the end, and we're going to single crochet them together as well. So we're going to go into the next stitch, grab your yarn, into the next stitch, grab your yarn. So you've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, and that reduces your stitch count down to, I haven't written that down, and my maths is terrible, so 16 take away 4, so what, that's 12. So you should have 12 stitches remaining, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. Yay! Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to just going to pull up our yarn a little bit and take our hook out, because what we need to do, because this is the light brown, we need to stuff this one. So you can either use yarn scraps or some toy stuffing, and I've got some, my yarn scraps are running low, so I'm just going to get some toy stuffing and stick that inside. You don't need loads, just need to pad it a little bit. Like so, I think that should be enough. Just so it's a little bit padded but not over padded. And then this is the complicated bit, probably. So put our hook back on. I'm going to bring this up to the camera a little bit, because what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet these stitches together now flat. So, and to do that, what I did is I put my hook into the next stitch as normal, but I also put it through the next stitch but from the back. So you put your next stitch in, hook in the next stitch as normal, and then put it in the next stitch but from the back, so coming out here, so it's kind of just catching the end like that. And then I did a yarn over, just pulled that through both the stitches, and then did a single crochet. So that's just the end one, and then the next one I put my hook in to the next stitch as normal, like so, and then we find the one on the opposite side that matches up, so it's going to be that stitch there. So if I can do this slowly, you just put your hook through the one on the opposite side like that, and then we're going to pull our yarn through both of those and single crochet them together. So then we put our hook in the next stitch, then find the one corresponding on the opposite side and pop our hook through like that, grab our yarn, just bring that through both, and then single crochet as normal. And then again for the next one, and then the opposite side. Sorry, I got an itch. It's all the fluff. Pull it through and then single crochet as normal. Then the next one, put your hook through, find the stitch on the opposite side, pull through and do single crochet as normal. And the last one, you're kind of on the end, so you're just gonna just pop it through the end as best you can. It will go through 2 stitches. I'll show you that. So you've got one there and you've got one that side, so literally just going through both of those and single crochet those 2 together, and that's it. So we get our scissors and leaving a little tail for sewing, just trim that off and then just pull it through to fasten off. And there's our first cushion base, which is either that one or that one, doesn't matter, they're both the same, as you can see there. So all you need to do now is repeat there. So I'm going to sit up. Repeat that another 3 times, but you only want to stuff the other light brown one. We don't stuff the end, so you need to repeat that 3 more times, exact same steps for this colour and the light and the darker brown, but don't stuff the dark brown, only stuff the light brown. So we need 2 stuffed and 2 non-stuffed. So I'm going to do that, and then I shall come back and show you what to do next. Okay. Okay, so I'm just finishing up the last dark brown one. But this time we don't stuff the inside, so we're just going to single crochet it closed straight away so we don't stuff the dark brown ones. So go into the next stitch and then from the back into the next stitch and do our single crochet, and then we go into the next stitch and find the corresponding one this side, and it's always higher up than you think it is. So that's say. And into the next stitch, find the corresponding one the other side. Next stitch. 4. Next stitch. 5. And the last one, just that side, straight out the other side. 6. And we just need to leave a bit of a tail for sewing. And there we go. I'll just move this camera back a bit. And as you can see, I've made 2 dark brown ones, exactly the same pattern, and I haven't stuffed these. So these are just closed up flat. And I've repeated the first pattern again, but stuffed that one with a bit of toy stuffing. And that was the first one we did, and that's the second one. I've left a shorter tail on that one because we only need one long tail for sewing these two together. But I've left both of these with little long tails for sewing on to the sides. So we're going to put the dark brown ones just to the side for a moment. And first of all, we're going to hide the shorter tail first. So get our yarn needle and just thread that on. And all I do is a couple of little stitches to secure that into place, and I'm just going to go just threading through the inside of the cushion, I shall call it, and then back, let's go out the other side. So it doesn't really matter where you sew, as long as you're going quite close together. And then let's go over here. So going back in close to where you came out, like so. Then just take the yarn needle off. I'm just going to push our little cushion down. I can't believe the sun has actually come out. So bright. And then let go of your project, and then the inside, the end piece just pops on the inside, like so. So that one's complete. And then we're going to use the longer tail end from our first one we did. I can't believe the sun is actually in my eyes. I can't remember the last time the sun was in my eyes. The weather in the UK at the moment is just awful. It's just flooding. It's really bad. So it's nice to see a bit of sunshine. Anyway, moving on. I've just threaded the longer piece onto the yarn needle. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew these together like so. But what we want to do is we want to create quite a nice finish on the inside. If we look at this one, I'll create quite a nice finish. We want the sort of uglier bit at the back. So what we're going to do is just working out where you want. Let's start. So we want that. We want to start that side. Right. Figure out what you're doing, Laura. Okay, so that's going to be the front. So pushing those two together on top of each other, we're just going to sew straight over to the other one like that, and then we're just going to go back to the other stitch, just straight over to the other stitch, and then connect it to that stitch and just sew like that so it crosses over, and then we'll go back over to this side, and then through the next stitch. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing, and over to the next stitch, and into the next stitch, over to the next stitch, the next stitch, and then just join the ends a little bit as well, just sew those together, then just check you're happy. So it's still quite, I want to bring it down a little bit more like so. So I'm actually going to, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bring this to the front. So I'm just coming up through the bottom like so. If you can see, it's quite bright. It's coming up for the bottom a little bit over, then I'm going to go into the top, but rather than going back down there I'm going to go up a little bit higher, just not quite up to that stitch, just below, and go back out to the back. And the reason being is I want to really hide the gap and make it look, rather than like that, I want it all sort of quite squished together. Okay, so then I'm going to go across, just across the same side, come out there, join over, and then I'm going to go down for the bottom. So I'm really squishing those two together. And now we're at the bottom, so it's going to go over slightly, come up for the bottom, and then go through the top. And just continue this way until they're really sewn together. So go back for the top, making sure to keep it level, and then down through the bottom. There we go. As you can see, that's really squishing them together. And then up for the bottom. Up for the top. And then crossing over the top a little bit. Coming back for the top. And then just down through the bottom. Like so, and I think I'll just do one more, just going straight up. Okay, so I've sewn them together along the bottom, and then I've just come out onto the inside a little bit just to squish them together, just to get more of a sort of armchair look, as it were. Now we just want to hide our sewing yarn, so I'm just going to sew anywhere, doesn't matter where. Just to get this tail end hidden away. Where can we go? Let's go over there. And take our yarn off. Just pull and trim the excess. So there we go. So by sewing along there, it just gets them together, and then I've come in from the top and down and around just to try and squish those together, and that gets us our first part of our little armchair. So they're the padded pieces. Now we want to take our flatter pieces, and what these are going to do, these are going to curve out slightly at the side, as you can see here. Like so, and we're just going to sew these, taking our tail end. First thing to do is we need to get the tail end we're going to sew with in the right position, because we're going to sew, these are going to act as the feet as well as the arms, so they're not going to be sat at the bottom, they're going to be floating like that because they need to be used as the feet part as well as the arm rest as well. So we need to get our tail end piece of yarn up to about the 4th row. So if you count the 4th row up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's about the middle of your armchair. You want to get your yarn up to the middle, So the first thing I'm going to do is just sew this gently, so 1, 2, 3, 4 up to about bottom of the 4th row, like so. I'm just going to bring my yarn up to there. So I'm not going to pull too tight because I don't want to distort the shape. So there we go. So now we've got our yarn tail end at about the 4th row up. Then what we're going to do is we need to just sew it onto the main part. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring it over to the other side. So it's on the right hand side. And then positioning, make sure you're happy with the positioning of your armchair. So you want to make sure that 4th row, the bottom of the 4th row, so one this side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this bottom, top of the 3rd, bottom of the 4th, basically that whole 4th row needs to match up to the side of your bottom part of your armchair. I hope I'm explaining this well. So then we want to do is we want to go into the side of our little armchair and come out the bottom, like so. We'll just pull that, like so. And you also want to make sure that the bit where you single crochet to close is at the bottom. So you want the beginning part at the top, and where you sewed single crocheted it closed, you want that at the bottom as well. Okay, so that's come out the bottom. The next thing to do is trying to keep it in position. This could be quite fiddly, the sewing part, especially when you've got a camera in front of you. So then you want to go across, making sure to keep it in line. You want to go back out to the outside, like so. So then making sure you're keeping it level on that 4th, bottom of the 4th, we're going to go over, just go over a little bit and then go into the side. You can't see this because the needle's on the inside, but go into the side of your armchair and then out through the bottom, like so. Okay, and again just make sure to go back out, always making sure you're keeping to that same row, because then you want to make sure that your armchair side is level. So then going over a little bit there, and again coming out, going through, then coming out the bottom. That's probably a little bit too far over actually. I'm going to come over just slightly. Like so. And back out. Pulling it tight as you go, and over a little bit, and then catching, going through and catching, coming out to the bottom, pulling tight, nice and tight, always keeping it tight, back out, making sure to keep to that same row, move over slightly, and come back out. Bottom, back out, and then over a little bit, and just come out the bottom in the corner. Okay. Just like that, like so. And then by making sure you're always coming in and out of this one row, it means that you can not worry too much about it ending up level at the end, because it should end up level. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back up through the brown, again keeping to the same row. It's very easy to get the wrong ones, so. And we're just going to sew slightly up the back Now, so we're going to go up the side slightly and then out through the back. You only want to do this halfway up because you want to make your little armchair side bit curve out at the top. So let me go up slightly and back. That will hide fairly well. We'll do one more, just up slightly, out the top, out the back rather. And I'm going to come back in just once more, like so. I like that. I'm happy with that. So then all I've got to do now is hide this tail end, because we don't want to close it up completely, because we want our armchair side to curve out. So now I'm going to sew literally through the centre, just through the middle. Can't see that side, can't see that side. Just out. Don't pull too tightly, because I want to distort the shape. I'm going to go back in and let's come out over here. There we go. And then I'm just going to trim, push down slightly, trim the excess. Sorry, this is really loud. Let that pop back in, and there's our first side. And because we've kept it, haven't sewn at the top, it just allows us to curve out the side to make it look more like a little Italian armchair or something. So there we go. We just need to repeat that for the opposite side. And again, just doing exactly the same, making sure that the bit you single crochet together to close is at the bottom. We need to make sure this tail end is halfway up our project, so we get our yarn needle again. And we need to work out fourth row, 1, 2, 3, 4, so the bottom of the fourth row, it's about 1, 2, 3, that side, it's about there, so 1, 2, 3, so up to about there. So I'm going to come in and go up to about there, 1, 2, 3, yep, that's about right. Let's bring that up straight away to about there. Don't pull too tight because you don't want to distort. And then just repeat the same process again. We're just going to go through to the other side, then into the, don't need to line it up straight away, we just need to go straight in and then down. And as we pull this, that brings that in. Make sure it's facing the right direction. Also make sure it lines up there as well. And then we're going to go back over, making sure to come out 1, 2, 3, so this row, making sure to come out here, make sure it's lined up like that, go over slightly, and then go through and out the bottom. Then go back in, making sure it's on the same row as before. Also double check that it's lining up like so as well. Then back in, out through the bottom. And back through. And just repeat exactly the same as what you've done the other side. Just back through. Over and out, over and out. over and down for that corner. Okay. So almost there. I'm just going to do a bit up the side, back out to that, just over a bit. Then we want to come up the side a bit, so just going to just come over a little bit towards the back, through the side and out the back of the chair. And through, over. And just check you're happy with the positioning. Back out. And just leave that top bit, so I'm just going to pop it out one more time. And then I'm just going to hide this tail end into the same colour yarn by, I'll go for the middle, come out about there. Again, don't pull too tight. Trim, put scissors down quietly, and there we go. It's our little armchair. And then you can just mould the pieces into shape, and there we go. There's the main armchair. Make sure he stands up. So there we go. So what's left to do now is to create the little cushion. Okay, so all we've got to do now is make the cushion, and this is where we need to use our smaller crochet hook. So I'm going to be using a 2.5mm crochet hook, and I'm going to be using our DK light worsted weight yarn. So this is a thinner yarn than the one we use for the actual armchair, and I've chosen a nice bright pink just to contrast the quite dull colours, I suppose, brown, I don't know. You can make your little armchairs, your little chairs in any colour you want. I seem to have chosen brown. But all we do is take our pink and then we chain 6. So just draw a little slip knot. Then we just chain 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then in the second stitch from hook, the second chain from hook, we will do a single crochet. So we don't count the one on our hook. There's our first, there's our second. Putting our hook again, I'm just catching the top piece, and then I'm just going to work a single crochet. And then I'm going to do a single crochet into the remaining chains. So that's in the next 4 as well. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So by the end of that row you should have 5 stitches. Just have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then all we're going to do is we're going to chain 1. We're not going to count that as a stitch, we're going to ignore that stitch. And then we're going to turn and we're going to put our hook straight into the first stitch there, first of our 5, and do a single crochet. And we do a single crochet in the remaining 4 stitches as well. 2, so we keep a stitch count of 5, 3, 4 and 5. It was a little bit harder to find the last one. There you go. And then we would do the same thing again. We chain 1, don't count that as a stitch, turn, and then go straight into that first stitch. And do 1 single crochet in each stitch along, in all 5. So we keep a stitch count again of 5. So it's 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then we do the same thing again, we just chain 1, don't count as a stitch, turn and put our hook straight into that first stitch and do a single crochet, and do a single crochet into each stitch along, so we still have 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then the last row, oops, ball of yarn's running away, chain 1 and turn, do a single crochet in that first stitch and do 1 in each stitch along, so you still have 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4 and 5, and there we go. And all we do is for this one we're just going to cut it quite short, just pull that through. So there we go, and both tail ends should be on the same end by the time we finish. We went across, did our chains, and we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of just chain 1, which we don't count as a stitch, and then just 1 single crochet in each stitch along. And we need to repeat this again, so we need to do this twice. So we do it once, and then we do exactly the same again. So we chain 6 to begin. Okay, so when you finish that one, so what we do now, we've got our 2 sides, and what we need to do is, I'm just going to sew in these 2 ends, these short ones, just trim them off. Basically just secure them into place as best you can and trim them, and then the other one. So that, whoops, sorry about the background noise. Okay, so you've got one like that, that's going to be our front and that's going to be our back. And then this tail end we're going to tuck away as well to the back, and I'm going to call that the back. So I'm just going to just secure that into place and then bring it to the back. Almost like knotting it really. Just trim that up. And then the remaining piece we're going to use to finish our little cushions. So that's the front and that's the front, and then we just place them together, making sure which ones are our chains. So they're the last row. So making sure they line up, so you've got the last row that you crocheted together. What we're going to do is we're going to bring back our small 2.5 hook. We're just going to place it in that last stitch into both corners. You don't have to worry about it being perfect, because we're just going to crochet these together as neatly as we can. I'm going to bring that through and then just work like a sort of a chain one really, like so. And then we're going to go down the edge, just putting your hook in as neatly as you can into both sides, bringing the yarn through, and then we're going to do a single crochet like so. And we're going to do that again, just another stitch along as neatly as you can, just making sure they line up fairly well. Like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's only a small little cushion. Probably fit about 4 stitches, I would have thought. 4 or 5 down one edge. I'm going to do the same across the bottom. And what I do in the corner is actually work a couple of stitches. So you can do one and do another one, just to sort of help you turn the crocheting like so. And then we'll do one in our foundation chains, in each one little single crochet in each foundation chain, as neatly as you can. You don't have to worry too much. Lost that one a bit. Just making sure to join both pieces together. About 4 or 5 in there. And then we do 2 on the corner. Like so. And then again along the edge, as neatly as you can, just work some more single crochets. A little knot. So when you cut your yarn, I mean, you might decide not to cut it and just work, or you can just cut a nice long tail if you want and then just use it to crochet up the edges. Whatever works best. I suppose there's no reason to cut it. And then in that corner, top corner, joining both sides, I'm going to do 2 on the corner, 2 single crochet on the corner. Okay, and just before we close up the cushion, as you can see, we've got a little pocket in there. We're just going to put a tiny weeny little bit of toy stuffing in there, or yarn scraps. So let's just get a tiny little piece, a little bit of toy stuffing, and I find using scissors is the best way for stuffing, she says. There we go. There we go. Just put a little bit of stuffing in your cushion. Perfect. And then all we do is just crochet the 2 pieces together at the top. And now we've actually got stitches to work into as well, which makes life a bit easier. Just joining each side as you go. I'll just do a little extra one on the corner there. Like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect. I might just slip stitch into that. It's just about joining them together. You might decide to sew them together, that's fine. And then cut off any excess. Make it shorter and just sew in. Go to the back and just sew in your tail end like so. So I might just, where can we put it in? Over to about there. over to about there. Doesn't matter where, as long as it's secure. And then just cut off the excess again. Unless I got some bits, yarn ends to use for stuffing next time. And there's our little cushion, just like that. So you're just making basically a couple of little squares, and then just crocheting them together, or you can sew them together. And there we go. We put our little cushion in our armchair. So there we go. And I hope you managed to follow along, and if you have any questions you can post them in the comments below, or you can come to my Facebook page at facebook.com/happybowcrochet. And do check out my blog as well, because the written version of this will go on my blog as well. It should be there today as well, on Friday today. This is actually being filmed on Tuesday, just so I can make sure I get it up ready for you guys on Friday. But thanks for watching. Yes, my blog is happyberrycrochet.blogspot.com, so I'll put a link in the description to where the written pattern is as well. You can go check that out if you want to. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I shall see you next Friday, if I don't see you before then, for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching. Bye!